How's it going on, my Saab friends? Today I'm gonna do a little facelifting here, and it's part 2 of some Saab maintenance that I've been doing because unfortunately I've kind of neglected my Saab. I hate to say it, but unfortunately that is what it is. So as you can see, or hopefully you can see, I do have a headlight out. This one is shining like it should. Headlights are kind of cloudy. Hopefully I have time to clear those up. But this is the culprit. So the other day I was driving the car and actually my driver's side headlight turned this like orangish pinkish color, which was really bizarre, and I assumed it was either going to be the HID itself, the bulb, or the ballast. Now, whenever I've had an issue with a ballast in the past, I don't know if this is the case for all of them, but I would have this real bad like flickering. The light would turn on and then turn off, turn on, turn off. This kind of vicious cycle, which was super annoying, and it turned out to be the ballast. But with the color shift that was happening with the light, I assumed it was on its last leg, and that's actually what happened. It was 2 days worth of a pink HID on the driver's side, and then it just burned out altogether. So today we're gonna pull off this front bumper, we're gonna change both HIDs, and then also, if I have time, I'm going to clean up the headlights because they are kind of frosted, and that does in fact mess with the light output, as you can see here. And plus it looks kind of terrible and it's not doing the car any justice. So I'll quit babbling here and let me show you the replacements. Here's what I'll be replacing my factory bulbs with, or at least the factory style bulbs. I bought the car used, so I don't know what is in there now as far as brand goes, but this is my replacement. Now, if you have a 2003 to 2007 Saab 9.3 with the Xenon headlights, it's going to take a D2S. Mine being a 2008 body style, so 2008 to onward, to up, to newer, however you want to say it, to 2012, it's going to take a D1S. Now, these at esaabparts.com and similar comparable companies that have a OEM HID, it's going to be $98.28 plus tax plus shipping. Now, a lot of times it's free shipping on $100 or more, so you're going to have to pay shipping, which something this small, it's not going to be a lot of money. But these, it should be interesting. These I purchased from eBay a year ago for $6.48, and just so I didn't forget, 6,000K and 35 watt. So I don't remember offhand what the originals would be. I'll try to look that up and put it down in the description. And if not, if somebody that has more knowledge in this, be sure to comment down below and let me know what the factory rating is for these. But I'm going with the cheap option here. I don't really expect these to last very long, but I figured for the price, why not? And here you go. So $6.48 for both versus Saab parts, $98.28 a piece. So let's give it a shot. And if you're wondering as far as tools goes, you shouldn't need much in the tool realm. We have a 10mm, we have an 8mm, and then we have a T27 Torx, 3/8 ratchet, screwdriver, extension. I'm going to use my electric Ryobi impact gun. It's not required. You can just kind of use a wrench. And then I have one of these tire guys. It's from a plug kit, but you can use many different things, but it actually makes that a little bit easier. And you can use a trim removal tool, but I'm actually probably just going to use a screwdriver. Oh, I guess I do have a trim removal tool. So if you have a trim removal tool, definitely use that so you don't mar up the bumper. But pretty much this is it. There's various screws, bolts, some plastic pieces that will take off. And if you pop the hood up and you think it's going to be easy, you have one bolt here, one bolt here. Guess what? It's not, because there's actually another bolt down in here. So that's why you have to remove the bumper. And on the previous generation cars, the 07 and older, same exact style, just a curvier bumper, but same idea. So let's get started. I'll quit rambling. I'm going to start with the 8mm. Now the two stubborn 10mm. I do recommend spraying a little penetrating oil on there. Set these to the side. Bust out the T27 Torx. The impact tends to be a little bit tough on these Torx, so it's always best to, if you can, just use the good old ratchet method so you don't strip it out. And because this gets a lot of the weather, the rock salt, it rusts real bad, and it's not worth it if it breaks on you or if it strips out and you have to drill it. It's not fun. Just take your time. Don't overdo it with the torque gun. Four of those clips. So this top is pretty well loosened up. And of course I got the two uppermost headlight bolts out. So now we're going to jump into the wheel well and remove these three 8mm bolts. So we have one here, one right there, and one shooting upwards right there. So let's knock out those three on each side. To make my life a little bit easier, I'm actually going to turn the car on and turn the wheel a little bit to give me that much more room to get the ratchet in the wheel well. And if you do a lot of mechanic work on the side, I highly recommend getting one of these foam pads. I think it's like a gardening pad, and normally they're under $5. So you can set it on the ground. That way you don't tear up your knees doing this. And we have an additional one right here. Now that I repeated the same process with removing inside the wheel liner on the passenger side, now you can crawl up underneath the car, and I believe there's around 7 bolts. Let's see, we got one here, 2, that's 4 with the other side, 5, 6, 7, I think 7. So we're going to remove these two. This is right by the driver's side fog light underneath here. Got these 2 bolts, 3 going across. Got one there, and one right there. And then of course the other 2 down there. Let's get to removing those. So it appears this one is missing this other bolt, and honestly I feel like there should be a couple more bolts, but I don't see anything else. So for some reason on the '07 and older ones, I felt like there was a bolt over here. I could be wrong. It's been a number of years since I did one of those. And on this car, the other bolt's actually right there, so might not have even had to have gone this far to remove the bumper, but got more space. So we're gonna undo this 10mm bolt and we'll pull out the headlight. Long 10mm bolt out of the way. Now we can finagle this out. Spin it this way, and we have one connector right here. Grab your Phillips screwdriver and just lift up. And it'll pop right out. No need to tug on it. If you have this connector out, that tab, if you have it out correctly, it'll pop right out. So here you go. One super expensive auto leveling Xenon Saab 9.3 headlight. So what we have here is the ballast. If you ever have any ballast issues, 2 bolts removes that. This is the actuator for the auto leveling system. If you need to get to the daytime running lamp to replace that, pop this connector off. You have access right there. And then the part that is most important to me is the D1S HID that I need to replace. So this is what is in the car currently, the burnout one, and it looks like it's a Phillips brand. So it is a very good brand, and potentially the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer one. Quite honestly, I don't know, but Phillips, it is a good brand, so let's go ahead and remove this. And actually, I just noticed something really neat. They make it very easy for you. There's a sticker at the very top, and it's a little tricky to see because with the headlight in here, it's tucked up underneath here. But if you notice, it has all the information for the bulbs. D1S for the HID headlight, 4157, that's the incandescent bulb for the daytime running lamp, and 3457 amber bulb, which is for the turn signal, which is right here. Very cool. Never noticed that. Before I show you how to replace the HID in this headlight, I'm actually going to go one step further and try to knock off some of this haze. And how we're going to accomplish that is basically wet sanding it and then polishing it back to hopefully an original equipment style finish. A nice kind of glossy look to it. And how we're going to do that is with one of these kits by 3M. This I picked up relatively cheap, under 10 bucks a couple months ago during Amazon Prime Day. I want to say normally they're around 20 bucks. You can find them at any parts store. And of course, any detail manufacturer like Turtle Wax, for example, all of those detail manufacturers, they have their own style kits. But this one I love because it's got a real nice foam pad. It's got everything you need. It's got the polishing cream and stuff in here as well. And you don't have to do anything by hand. You just hook up your drill and let the drill do the work. So let's go ahead, take a stab at this, and see where this gets us. To start out, clean the headlight with some soapy water. If you don't do this step, you're going to really ram all those dirty contaminants into the lens and the plastic, and also you can create more swirl marks, causing more issues, and it'll look even worse. So the 3M is a 3-step process as far as sanding goes. There's a P500 grit, there's a P800 grit, and then I think a P3000. So it's 3 levels of sanding, and then when we're going through those steps, you want to make sure that the headlight doesn't go dry because then it will create burn marks. So periodically we're going to stop, we're going to try to clean the pad, we're going to put some more soapy water solution on the headlight. Once we're done with the sanding, then it's on to the polishing, and we'll talk more about that when the time is near. So here we go. Very expensive headlight if anything were to happen, but hey, what's life without some risk? So let's go ahead and start sanding. Already you can kind of see, well hopefully, this kind of disgusting yellowy water that's on the headlight, so that's a good sign. You might be able to start to see it get even hazier So that's actually a good sign, believe it or not. And you want to focus on doing it nice and even, going back and forth until you have this nice kind of hazy finish to it. So we're going to keep knocking this down a little bit, try to get it more evened out, and then we'll jump to the P800 grit. So it appears that we have a nice even haze. So it looks like we're able to jump to the next step, the next P800 grit sandpaper. First disc was a gold pad. Now the second P800 sanding disc. This one's a white one. Same process. We're going to go over this a couple times. Medium to light pressure. Clean it every so often. Make sure it doesn't go dry. We'll knock this step out and go to the last step of the sanding. So here's where we're at after the second stage of sanding. So practically what we're doing here is we're using a rough sandpaper. We're stripping back that faded, bad looking plastic coating on the front, and then we're going to a lighter sandpaper. So we're basically sanding out those scratches that were created with the rougher sandpaper. And now we're going to go to the third step with the final pad, which is this guy right here, which is the 3000 grit, and then it's going to get real fine and hopefully we'll get out any imperfections. But once we cleaned it here, you want to make sure you don't have any gouge marks, any more sanding marks, because then you're going to want to go back and do a little more sanding. But looks pretty good, and I think we're ready to go to the final and third step of sanding. Looks a lot better. Don't see any scratches. I'm going to dry this off with a microfiber towel, kind of inspect it a little bit further, see if any more sanding needs done. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good, and we're ready to polish. Headlight is wiped down, dry. I didn't see any gouge marks or anything. Everything seems nice and smooth. So we're onto the foam pad. We have their 3M compound. Per their instruction, we're going to put a little bit of compound on the end here. Wipe it in there a bit and go to town. Still a little bit hazy, so we'll attack it with a little more compound. Now that I'm happy with the polishing of the headlight, we're ready to swap out the HIDs. So these are a little tricky, but there is a tab right here you press, and it pushes outward on this side. So you push it just like such, push down, and it releases. Twist it counterclockwise and remove. So this is the burned out HID. We'll grab the new one. Here's the new one, and as you can see, the old one has this collar on it, so we need to transfer that over. So you press this little tab and the collar comes off. Take the new one, stick it in place, and the collar, if you notice up top here, there's a notch right there, like such. Swing it, clip it, and you're good. Now, it doesn't go like this, it goes like this, because remember, this clip was on the bottom. So, I'm gonna stick it in, angle it. Now we're gonna twist it clockwise, locks in place nice and tight. Take the clip, connector, and connects like such. Give it a good little shake, make sure everything is nice and tight, and then you're ready for the cap. Cap twist on clockwise, and there you go. Now we're ready to toss this reconditioned headlight into the car. First step, reconnect your headlight harness. Grab your 3 bolts. Long 10 mil goes on the corner there. Short 10 mil goes on the top. And then last is the 8 mil up on the fender. I'm going to use my impact, but I have it on the lowest setting. You don't want to overcrank it because you will break the plastic mounting tabs of the headlight. There you have it. A cleaned headlight with a cheap eBay replacement Xenon HID headlight. We'll see the longevity of it. But now I need to jump over the passenger side and you can kind of see the before and after. Before, after, before, after. Shouldn't need any explanation. You can see the world of difference that taking 20 minutes of sanding and polishing does. I mean, that's insane. Definitely going to help out with the light output, and I should be able to see a bit better. I'm going to fast forward through time here, and I'll get this one completed, and then we'll throw all this nonsense back together. We should be good. All right. Xenon headlights have been switched. Both headlights have been cleaned with that 3M kit, and now I'm ready to fast track this process and throw this car back together and get it back on the road. And actually, I'm kind of curious what these eBay HIDs are going to look like as far as like the color range. So I'll save that to the very end. So let's throw this back together. So it's all put back together. No missing pieces, which that is a good thing. Now for the moment of truth. Let's see what the new HIDs look like. there you have it. Nice, bright, brand new HIDs. It's very hard to pick up on the camera, but they look so much better. Because before with the hazing, this was all glowing, and I know for a fact the light output wasn't that great. And I don't know how old the original HIDs that I had in here were. So they could be somewhat faded as well. But, you know, I don't know the longevity of these eBay ones. Again, I did get them for under $7. So we'll see. Worst case, I'll tear it apart and redo it with some better ones like the OEMs, like a Philips brand. So the only other thing that I would recommend when doing this, especially the headlights, is to get a protective kit to seal off those lenses, because it's only a matter of time sitting out in the sun before they fade yet again. So I haven't been able to find a decent rated protection kit for the headlights after doing the restoration. So that's where I'm actually going to turn to you guys. I would like to see some feedback as far as what you guys think is an awesome brand, some form of a clear coat. Please don't tell me some Rust-Oleum. I do want like specific headlight stuff. I know there's different grades and whatnot, and I know like Turtle Wax and stuff like that, they make them, but the ratings just doesn't seem that great. But hey, maybe you guys had some awesome experience with it, but I am looking for your advice as far as some form of a protection for these newly restored headlights. That concludes this video today. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to drop a comment down below, and I'll do the best I can to answer those comments. Like I said, I am looking for advice for some form of a headlight sealant, so please let me know what you guys think as far as products for that, and please give me links for that too. Also, anything that I used in this video, the HIDs, the headlight restoration kit, I'll put links in the description to help you guys out. And like always, be sure to subscribe. I have tons of Saab content out there and content in general, and every sub and like help me out. So I do love doing what I do. I love sharing knowledge with Saabs and just my journey with Saab ownership. So I'll cut the video off now. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.